Welcome to a new episode of Ausfahrt.tv in English with me, your host, Mr. Z, and that's the Volvo S60 model year 2015. In 2000, this model was first introduced to the public while Volvo was belonging to the Ford company. In 2009, they separated, and in 2010, they presented the second generation of the Volvo S60, and in 2013 there was a mild facelift of this car, and that's the model we're driving right here. At least in Germany we have 4 different models of the 60 series from Volvo. We have the S60, the sedan-like or the coupe-like sedan. We have the V60, the E-State version, and of both versions we have a model with a edition cross-country, which means a little bit more space to the ground. Let's have a short look to the competitors. In Germany at least, Volvo is placing themselves as premium, so the main competitors are the Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class and the BMW 3 Series. And here we have as well the Ford Mondeo, which is the Ford Fusion in the US, and the Opel Insignia. With a change from the first to the second product generation, Volvo had to remove all the 5-cylinder engines because they were made by Ford and they were using from this date on 4-cylinder engines. At least in Germany we have 6 diesel engines and 4 petrol engines. Talking about the diesel engines, they have 115, 136, 163, 181 and 215 horsepower. The version with 215 horsepower is available with all-wheel drive, while all other combinations have just front-wheel drive. And we have, or the customer has a choice of a 6-speed manual transmission, a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, a 6-speed automatic transmission, and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Talking about the petrol engines, we have versions of 150, 180, 245 and 304 horsepower, while the strongest version, 304 horsepower, comes with all-wheel drive, and we have the different transmission combinations as well. And here it is, the heart of our Volvo S60 T5. Combustion engine with 2.5 liters, turbocharged, has 245 horsepower and is good for maximum torque of 350 Newton meters, and you get the maximum torque in a range between 1500 and 4800 RPM. Let's get the basic facts out of the way. 143 miles per hour or 230 kilometers per hour, that's the top speed of the Volvo S60 T5. And you accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in just 6.3 seconds. The S60 has a length of 4.6 meters equals 181 inch, with a wheelbase of 2.8 meters equals 110 inch. Its height is 1.5 meters or 59 inch, and it is from mirror tip to mirror tip 2.1 meters or 83 inch wide. As of the turn radius, you need at least 11.3 meters of free space, which equals 445 inch. The curb weight is 1,664 kilogram or 3,668 pound. The admissible total weight is 2,110 kilogram, equals 4,652 pound. Well, at least for me, Volvo stands for high protection. So when they changed the model in 2010, they not only sharpened the whole design and made it a little bit more edgy, more aggressive. The grille was put a little bit higher to give the car more sporty look. They introduced, by the way, as well New headlights with LED daylight and double xenon as an option, but they introduce as well a rollover protection system. So when the car flips, that you feel even more secure, and it is done by using different sort of steel all over the front car. From the side view, you recognize the coupe-like sedan form we have here, and we have two shadow lines, one up here, the other one down here, and if you go over the lines, you feel they're really round, not as edgy as most cars nowadays have their shadow lines. Our car stands on 18-inch alloy wheels called titanium. By factory settings you get 17-inch, and as an option you can go up to 19-inch. Our white is called Polar White here in Germany, and in Germany you have the choice between 14 different colors. Well, not much to say to the rear. The rear lights look pretty big in comparison to the whole car, I think. Here we have the T5 for our 245 horsepower engine, and the exhaust pipes look big, but those are not the pipes, those are just blends. The pipes themselves are in there and pretty small. Well, let me invite you to follow me inside so I can show you around the interior. The door open around 80 degrees, and I can easily hop in here and slide on the leather seat, lean out and close the door. So Volvo is trying to present themselves as a premium company. I've been to the world premiere of the Volvo XC90, and I am saying yes, that is really premium right here in the S60, which is still a product of the cooperation with Ford. I'm not too sure. I like how they did the roof, and we have leather in the door panels, and this soft touch plastics in the upper part. We have this brushed alloy application in the center console, but everywhere, you know, like here or there, I find this hard plastic. It's not at places that I really touch a lot, but still it's there, and you know, that's kind of not giving me this premium appeal that I really like. It's a mix. I'm not really sure, but it's a mid-class sedan. So I'm 180 centimeters tall, 5'11" in US size. I have enough space, enough headroom, and since the center console is pretty wide, it gives me the feeling that the car is much wider than it actually is. I can tell you that Toby, the guy I'm working with now, he is 5'6", so 195 centimeters. He was really happy to drive this car because he has enough space to really drive it and even sit comfortable, which is not standard for all the cars. Besides that, talking about handling in the car, everything is right in place, and you even get used to this, you know, army of buttons right here in the center console. The upper part is for the infotainment system, the other ones are for the air conditioning. Overall, you get used to it, even it looks scary at first. Okay, let's look around. I can adjust the height of the seat belts, and believe me, they are long enough even for bigger people to buckle up. The seats are covered with leather. First I thought they're really comfortable. After driving a distance of 600 kilometers, I'm not too sure anymore. They could have a little bit more hold in the back for my back. However, you can adjust them electrically in all ways. By the way, just the driver seats. To have an adjustable passenger seat electrically, you have to pay extra, and you can store the positions with 3 memory slots, and you can heat them up in 3 intensities. The steering wheel is coated with leather, not too soft, not too hard. The leather is just fine. You can adjust it manually, and I think the range is just fine and okay. you have on the left side, you have the buttons to control the speed limiter, the adaptive cruise control, and on the right side you have buttons for the infotainment system and the speech recognition for voice controls. The mirrors are big enough to see the traffic behind you just well, and I like the rear mirror here inside that is really big, so I can see the whole rear window. Just the headrests from the back row are in my way, but I can fold them down here electrically, just pushing this button. You just have to keep in mind that the rear window starts very high, so if kids are running behind your cars, you might not see them, but you do have, as an option at least, a rear camera, which works just fine. It's not the best one I've seen so far, but it does its job, so that's okay. Turning my head over the left shoulder, I see everything, nothing really in my way. On the right, we do have a C-pillar, and it's not too big. I think you can say you have a good view all over the car and nothing is really disturbing you. Besides, you have the rear camera and you have blind spot warners, so you're safe with that. We do have a slight ambient light in here, just one color, white, and it illuminates the compartments in the door panels, as well as the space for your foots down there, and I think even the cup holders and this little drawer, this little compartment behind the center console. We don't have classic round gauges anymore here in this car. We have one single round gauge, and behind that we find a display, a digital display. You can choose between 3 different ways of getting your information presented. I prefer the sport version, since you have the digital speed very big there presented. On the 2 wings, left and right. On the left wing you have the fuel gauge, and next to this temperature of the engine. On the right side you have something similar to an RPM meter, but it rather shows you when you better shift or how much power you use, whatever. I've never really understood it. And on the very right you see which driving program you are using. On the switch for the light, I have a little round thing that I can rotate, and this helps me to see whatever the board computer has of information for me. Besides that, we have a 7-inch infotainment system here, and both displays are easy to read, even if the sun comes from various positions. And overall, we have a honk that sounds like this. Let me walk through the compartments real quick. In the door panels, we have enough space for this 0.75 liter bottle, but not more. It's not really a cup holder or bottle holder here, and this whole compartment is not really big. We have a little clip right here for tickets, and the next thing I can show you is this drawer or the cup holders. Get my bottle again. You have 2 pieces with this rubber things that prevents the bottle from shaking, and here's a 12-volt outlet as well. Under the armrest that is not adjustable, you find another compartment. This is deep. And here's an outlet plug for your USB device and some aux-in line in. We have a gloves compartment, which is fine. Here you have a clip where you can put your SIM card, your mobile card in, and there's enough space not only for this leather map, but as well for different other stuff. And even you have 2 holders for pens. We have a makeup mirror on both sides in the sunshades. It's illuminated on both sides. It's pretty big too. And we have reading lights for the driver and the passenger and a big entry light. But just one more thing. I mentioned it before, behind the center console you have a little compartment as well, and with an anti-slip surface where you could put your mobile or the key or something else. And something nice about this little compartment, you don't see it while you're looking in the car, so you might put stuff there that you don't want other people to see, like thieves. We have a coupe-like sedan with 4 doors, so let me jump in the back. The doors are not as big as in the front, of course, so climbing in here is not as easy, but I find my space and the door closes very easy too. Sitting in the S60 sedan with this coupe-like exterior, I do have problems with looking outside because my head already bangs against the thing right here, even so it's nice to touch it. The windows are pretty small, so I don't have a spacious feeling back in the back row at all. However, I do have same leather stuff in the door panels here as well, and I'm sitting on leather, and I have enough space for my head. I'm 180 centimeters tall, so 5'11". My mate Tobias, who's filming with me, with his 195 centimeters or 6'5", really has problems sitting here in the back. He can't really put his head on the backrest because he's touching the ceiling first. And he does not have space for his legs. Well, I do. I have enough space for legs and my feet. Looking around, I have a little compartment in the door panel. It's not really made for putting my bottles there, and all I can fit in is this tiny bottle in comparison to the one I used in the front. This one is not fitting at all, and you don't have any other cup holders back here in the car. You have these little bags in the back of the front seats, and you can put a bottle in here, but that's not really how it should be. In the center I have at least a 12-volt outlet, while the air outlets are here in the sides. And talking about having kids here in the back, we have belts that are long enough to easily buckle up a child seat or baby thingy. We have Isofix things in the back for the 2 seats, and the locks for the safety belts are pretty stiff, so kids should be able to buckle up themselves. They have at least reading lights for the both kids sitting outside, so there's the 2 passengers sitting outside, and we have handles with a little hook for a jacket right up here. Oh, before I forget, yes, I do have an armrest here in the middle, but no cup holders. It's just a nice comfortable armrest, that's it. And I can even put stuff through here, but I can only open it from the trunk. Just for the fun of it, I'm trying to sit in the middle, sitting a little bit higher. Now my head is going to the ceiling as well, so no head space for me here. And yeah, we would all have problems buckling up because I'm sitting on the locks for the safety belts. Just looking at the window, it's not folding down completely or rolling down completely. However, it's colored a little bit. And it has the protection so kids won't get harmed in here. Yeah, that's pretty much it from the rear. I have 3 different ways to open the trunk. With a key, with a button inside next to the steering wheel, or with this little switch right there, and it swings out wide. And as you see, I have the tripod case in here, so I know that I have at least 1 meter of wide in here. Just measuring, it's about 95 centimeters in depth, and we have around 120 centimeters behind the tires, so the longest space to store something, not longer than 120 centimeters. If you want to lift something in the trunk, it goes like 71 centimeters up, and then around 12 centimeters down. Altogether we have space for 380 liters of luggage, or 13 cubic foot, as you Americans say. Looking inside, you can lift the floor, but there's not much space in there, just enough for a tire fit, some warning vest. The emergency kit is, or the first aid kit is on the left side here, the warning triangle right under the hood, and down there I see even a light. Then we have here a little panel, and it says backrest release, so we can flip the backrest off the back row in proportion 40 to 60%, and that's what I will do right now. Okay, as you can see, it's not a plain surface, not at all. However, now you have place for items that are at maximum 1 meter and 60 centimeters long. Let me check this again. Yeah, 160, and I think if you put the passenger seat to the very front, it's around 30 centimeters more even. This height is around 35 centimeters, and you have a width of 1 meter. Let me give you a little impression about driving the Volvo S60 T5. You got 245 horsepower, which is quite enough for a mid-size sedan, of course, and you do feel the power whenever you need it. So acceleration is just fine and works with charm. Once you put the stick of the manual transmission to the left, you can, well, first you put it in sport, so the throttle is more responsive and the transmission shifts later. And in this position on the left, you can either even shift manually, like pulling the stick towards you, or away, shifting up and down. I've never used the manual shifting because I didn't need it. We have an 8-speed automatic transmission, the Geartronic, and this one just shifts with charm. I'm very pleased, and there's no complaint about the transmission at all. We have 8 gears in this transmission, which is supposed to have or to be able to drive with less RPM and so save a lot of fuel. I've driven this car now around 2,800 kilometers in our testing cycle, and we have a fuel consumption of 10.5 liters, and I think that's a little bit too much. I would think that 8 liters or even 9 would be fine, but 10.5 is quite a lot. And even so, we had a lot of autobahn driving in our test cycle. We didn't drive full speed all the time, so I think it's still a bit too much. The steering wheel, we have an electromechanical steering system, works with charm. It's pretty direct, very responsive, and driving in the city or like parking, you'll need much less effort than driving on the autobahn with a steering wheel. I'm not very satisfied with the suspension. You, well, at least in Germany, you have 3 ways to configure your car: normal suspension, there's a normal suspension, a touring version, and an adaptive one. And we have the touring here, And it's not uncomfortable at all, no, but it's not sporty either. It's something in between, and foremost, it's loud. So whenever we have potholes, you hear them before you feel them, even, well, if you feel them at all. Sometimes you just hear them and the suspension prevents you from feeling it, but it is loud, pretty noisy. Talking about wind noises, driving up to 120 kilometers per hour, it's fine. Everything, well, if you go faster, then it does get a little bit too loud for my taste, especially around the 200 kilometers per hour. You even have to raise your voice a little bit to have a conversation in the car. The brakes are just fine. I would like them a little bit more sensitive, so you really have to use your foot and all the force in your foot to slow down the car in the way you want it. However, everything else is just alright. The S60 comes with various assist systems. We have an adaptive cruise control which works with charm, and I even have this little thing on the steering wheel with which I can say how much distance I want to the car ahead of me, which is nice to have, especially in traffic jam. You want to have a little less distance to prevent other cars from sneaking in, while with full speed on the autobahn you want a little bit more distance, maybe even more than you need for security. We have an adaptive lane keeping assist, which works okay. Whenever it recognizes the lane, it shows me in the round display here, and when I try to cross the lane, it prevents me from, you know, using the steering wheel, giving me a little bit force feedback, and it shows a red line like don't cross this line. By the way, we have a blind spot warner as well, a little yellow light showing in the mirrors whenever there's a car in your blind spot. And we have a collision warning system, which is really sensitive. Well, it beeps on one hand and it flashes a bunch of red LED lights here in front of me. So I'm warned, and that's a good thing, but it warns me even if there's nothing around, which is kind of disturbing, and maybe you lose your attention for the real warnings then, you know. But overall, it's just you get used to the situation where it warns you, gives you a false warning, so you know what's going on when you have a real warning coming up. Well, that's it. That's my review about the Volvo S60 T5 with 245 horses. What do I think? Well, I think it's a real beauty. I like the, especially in the white color with this 18-inch rims. I think it looks really, really nice and sweet. And I wouldn't mind walking up to it every morning and say, well, that's mine, fine. However, I think the interior, I had problems with the seats, as I mentioned. And I'm not too excited about the engine suspension combination. I think I would rather, and I'm German, I would rather go for a diesel engine, which is not as thirsty as this one we're having here. And I would rather they have different suspensions as an option. So I would really like to see the adaptive suspension, if this is pleasing my needs a little bit better. Altogether, I could even imagine buying this car for a daily driver, because I can, you know, take my kids even on a holiday, and driving with a car is just enjoyable. So I hope you liked this review. If you did, give me a thumb up. If you have any questions, please put them below in the comments. I'm trying to answer every comment. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. Or even if you want to, I would be really pleased and delighted. Share this clip over the social networks you're using. I'm sorry for my shades today, but the sun is bright and my eyes are a little bit sensitive today. No, I didn't drink. No. And that's it. I'm saying goodbye. Yours, Mr. Z.